Shabbat Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya with another Shabbat lesson. But before I get started, as always, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who I learned this truth from. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shabbat Shalom. And I'm going to start off this Shabbat lesson in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. And this is speaking of the Edomites, who are known today as these so-called white people. These Americans, the British, Europeans, Russians, Australians, New Zealanders, South Afrikaners, the 1948ers over in the Holy Land, etc., etc. As it says in Psalms chapter 58, verse 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go forth speaking lies as soon as they be born. These Edomites were created with a not upright spirit. They're the wicked, according to the scriptures. As it says in Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, the Edomites are the border of wickedness, meaning wherever they set up their border, wickedness follows. And since the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, as pursuant to Job 9, verse 24, that's why you see this world in this chaotic state that it's in right now. Everything turned upside down and completely contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. As it further says in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, but when the righteous beareth rule, the people rejoice. The people of this planet are clearly in a state of mourning. Everybody's selfish, out for their own game, liars, cheaters, adulterers, thieves, demons, you name it. But when the righteous beareth rule, the people will rejoice. When the true children of Israel, who are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are back in power in the kingdom of heaven, this planet is going to be under the vibration of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai and the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But that's not the point of this video. Back in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4, but the just, the righteous, shall live by his faith. Verse 5, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine. And that isn't talking about literal wine. It's talking about philosophies, the ideologies that these Edomites push out. And this Edomite clearly transgresseth by his wine. He pushes out democracy, feminism, capitalism, communism, socialism, the alphabet group beginning with LG, atheism, etc., etc. And since the earth has been given into his hands for this little season, the majority of the people on this planet are rocking out after that vibration, so they're bugged out and wicked as well. As it says in Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 10, as the ruler and the king is, so are the people. And also in Psalms chapter 12, when the wicked walk on every side, when the vilest men are exalted. And these Edomites, since they're in rulership, are being exalted right now. And they're the vilest of men, the basest of men, as it says in Daniel chapter 4. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and as death. And this isn't talking about another dimension underground where a man with horns who's red with a pitchfork is poking people. No, this is talking about the grave, Sheol. And we know that the grave is never satisfied since people are constantly dying. So his desire is as hell and as death. And this Edomite, more specifically the elites, are never satisfied. Here these people have the entire planet under their subjection, but they still want more. They want to leave the planet. They want to control your very soul and the very way you think through transhumanism. All that. As it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 to 4, this man wants to sit in the seat of the Most High and shew himself as the Most High. These Edomites have a God complex and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And we can clearly see that this is what this Edomite has been trying to accomplish, getting these people under one banner, one order, as it were, that NW0, which has been relabeled a lot of things recently, the GREAT, RESET, or the Fourth Industrial Revolution. having people under one so-called religion, one government, one language, one currency, etc., etc. And these Edomites have a history of that. Look at the Grecians, look at the Romans, look at the Edomites in Russia with the Soviet Union trying to create a system of global communism. Look at these Edomites in the West, like Western Europe and the United States, trying to create a system of global capitalism. Hell, just look at the United States alone. The world reserve currency right now is the US dollar with Edomite faces on it. In order to be a pilot, you have to speak English. The standard of business attire is a business suit and a shaved face. Bugged out people out here think that the beauty standard is blonde hair and blue eyes. The list goes on and on. But again, as it says, his desire is as hell and is as death, and he cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people, trying to create a one world order. And I opened up the video with these verses to preface an article on activistpost.com titled, "What is the Council for Inclusive Capitalism, and who created the system of capitalism? These Edomites. It's the NW0. You know we have to speak in codes because of YouTube algorithms. But hey, this is just going to be another article to further condemn you Edomites and show that you're the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job 9 verse 24, the border of wickedness in Malachi 1 verse 4, and that proud man who neither keepeth at home, but enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and gathereth unto him all peoples and nations and tongues to put them under a one world government, a one world order." The idea that there is an agenda for global government among the financial and political elites of the Edomites, examples being the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gettys, Merovingians, Massimos, you name it, of the world, has long been called a so-called conspiracy theory within the mainstream and establishment media owned by the elites. And sadly, even when you can convince people to look at and accept the evidence that banking institutions and certain politicians work together for their own purposes, many folks will still not entertain the notion that the ultimate goal of these power mongers is one world empire. They just can't wrap their heads around such a thing. Again, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. People will say that the establishment is driven by greed alone and that their associations are fragile and based only on individual self-interest. They will say that crisis events and shifts in social and political trends are random, not the product of deliberate engineering. They will say that elitists will never be able to work together because they are too narcissistic, etc., etc. All of these arguments are a coping mechanism for the public to deal with evidence they cannot otherwise refute. When the facts become concrete and the powers that be admit to their schemes openly, some people will revert to confused denial. They don't want to believe that organized evil on such a scale could actually be real. Remember again in Job 9 verse 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, the evildoers. If it did, then everything they thought they knew about the world might be wrong. Now, contrary to popular belief, everything you people have grown up to believe is the truth has actually been a lie, subterfuge. The only truth out here is the scriptures, which you know is the Bible, as well as the Apocrypha, the New and the Old Testament, and even then, plantation Christianity, Roman Catholicism, baptism, Seventh-day Adventists, all these bastard offshoots of the Roman Catholic Church don't even teach the scriptures right. The only place you'll find the truth is through the Hebrew Israelites, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, who the Most High is using to break down these scriptures in 144% truth. The Messiah, so-called Jesus Christ, whose true name is Yahawashi Hamashiach, didn't come back to save everybody. He only came to save the nation of Israel. Right now, only the elect, and whom you people ignorantly refer to as God, whose true name is Yahweh, is a racist, a supremacist only for his people, the children of Israel, who are again known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today. And the only true law which this world was supposed to be governed by is the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Nobody was ever meant to, all these different nations of people were never meant to come together under a one world order, a one world government. Hence, why you had the example of the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11, which we'll get later. And what happened to the Tower of Babel when all these people came together with one language and one purpose to build that tower? The Most High ruined their purposes. He ruined that NW0 of the past. So what do you think is going to be the end results of this NW0 that these Edomites are trying to bring about, this one world government? As it says in Romans chapter 15, everything written aforetime was written for our learning. And also in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, there is no new thing under the sun. For many years, the agenda for global governance was only whispered about within elitist circles, but every once in a while, one of them would speak aloud in public about it, perhaps out of arrogance or perhaps because they felt the time was right to ease the populace into accepting the possibility. Whenever they did mention it, they called it the NW0. World leaders from George H.W. Bush to Barack Obama to Joe Biden to Gordon Brown to Tony Blair, and they are all just puppets. Politics is political theater, the left-right, red-blue paradigm. They're both the two horns like a lamb on the dragon in Revelation chapter 13. It's just to keep you people divided, thinking, oh, my conservative ideals matter, so I'm going to vote a Republican into office. Oh, my liberal ideas matter, I'm going to vote a liberal. It's no different than the plebeians and the patricians in Rome, but at the end of the day, who did they answer to? The Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor. No different today. All these political puppets answer to their masters, the dragon, these elites, and their ultimate agenda, which they're also working towards, that NW0, the one world government, the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and beyond have all given speeches talking about the NW0. Money and political elites like George Soros and Henry Kissinger have mentioned the NW0 incessantly over the years. One of the most revealing quotes on the agenda comes from Clinton administration Deputy Secretary of State Strobe Talbot, who stated in Time magazine that, in the next century, nations as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize a single global authority. National sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all. Again, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And in last week's Shabbat lesson, I did a video on a so-called Filipino woman who was really an Israelite foreigner and who woke up to the fact that she was one of the scattered Israelites, as pursuant to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64 in the curses. And I brought out Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we're the sons of the Most High. So if the spirit of the Israelites bear witness that they are the Israelites, what do you think the spirit of the wicked, the spirit of the Edomites beareth witness to? That they are the wicked and the Edomites pushing for this one world government, this one world order. And like I said earlier in the video, these Edomites have tried to do this in the past as well. An example of this is in 1 Maccabees in the Apocrypha, chapter 1, verses 41 to 42. And this is dealing with Antiochus Epiphanes IV, one of the grandsons of Seleucus I, who was one of Alexander the Great's generals. And when Alexander the Great came into power, that's when these Edomites started coming into their rulership. They were the belly and the thigh of brass in Daniel chapter 2, that of that dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had. And what did Alexander the Great try to do? Unite the people under one order. And as we're about to read, Antiochus Epiphanes tried to do the same by Hellenizing people under the Greek way, the Greek fashion. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, gathereth unto him all nations and all people, and everyone should leave his laws, leave his national identity, leave his national sovereignty, his religion, his money, you name it. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king, to become Hellenized, to become one people, one nation, one tongue, under Hellenization in the past, and under this one world order, this GREATRESET, the fourth industrial revolution today, under the Edomites. Again, Romans chapter 8 verse 16, the Spirit beareth witness that you Edomites aren't, that you so-called white people are indeed the Edomites, and that you're the wicked that's trying to gather people under one ideology, one nation, one tongue, one currency, etc., etc. He adds in the same article a lesser-known quote: the free world formed multilateral financial institutions that depend on member states' willingness to give up a degree of sovereignty, to give up their identity again, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Where were we at? The International Monetary Fund can virtually dictate fiscal policies, even including how much a tax a government should levy on its citizens. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade regulates how much duty a nation can charge on imports. These organizations can be seen as the proto-ministries of trade, finance, and development for a united world. To understand how the agenda works, I offer a quote from globalist and Council on Foreign Relations member Richard Gardner in an article in Foreign Affairs magazine in 1974 titled The Hard Road to World Order. In short, the house of world order will have to be built from the bottom up rather than from the top down. It will look like a great booming, buzzing confusion, to use William James's famous description of reality, but an end run around national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. The NW0 has since changed names multiple times as the public grows increasingly wise to the conspiracy. It's been called the Multilateral World Order, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the GREATRESET, etc., etc. The names change, but the meaning is always the same. In the past 2 years, in the face of extensive global crisis events, the new order, establishment globalists have been talking about has arrived, and with almost no fanfare or mention in the mainstream media. The beginnings of global government already exist, and it's called the Council for Inclusive Capitalism. Likely, many analysts, myself included, have been highly focused on the World Economic Forum and their role in the global government agenda, mainly because WEF head Klaus Schwab is such a loudmouth, and he can't help but talk about future plans for centralization. As I have noted in past articles, the elites within the WEF got way too excited about the C-19 situation, thinking that they had the perfect crisis to implement numerous globalist policies in the form of the GREATRESET. As it turned out, C-19 was nowhere near as deadly as they initially predicted during Event 201, and the public was not as submissive and compliant as they had hoped we would be. The WEF let the cat out of the bag too soon. But the situation with the C-19 brought in a lot of their agendas, pushing us more towards what? A cashless, digital society. What do we have? Social spacing, as we'll call it. Talks of the C-19 traveling on physical currencies, so they pushed for the need to take physical currencies out of circulation and contactless digital payments, what with cashierless checkouts, a push for app-based payment systems like Cash App, Apple Pay, Venmo, and then at particular restaurants and a lot of other places, instead of having a physical menu there, what do you have? A QR code to scan with your phone to get that. And even at the WEF recently, or the World Economic Forum, you had an Edomite talk about how, look, what we're pushing for is a digital ID that the people will be under. And what is that ultimately going to be? The charagma in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18. The MARKOFTHEBEAST, which of course is the RFID/NFC, MICROCHIPIMPLANT. And that's the ultimate goal of a lot of these elites' plans, to get you people charagma. And let's get it real quick. This is Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 16. And he causeth all, that he being the Edomite elite rulers of the planet right now, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the charagma, or the name of the BEAST, or the number of his name. And what have we seen with the situation that's been taking place over these past couple of years? Some of people's movements in society to be able to get a job or buy or sell were restricted if they didn't get the jump shot. And that was them subconsciously and psychologically preparing you people to eventually take the charagma. And there will be a mandatory implementation of the charagma, and it's going to get so serious out here to where people that don't want to go along and get the charagma will be faced with being put to death. Up in verse 15, and he, that he again being the elites, had power to give life unto the image of the BEAST, which are the political, financial, and military aspects of this beast system that we're currently living in. The last leg of the fourth beast in Daniel chapter 2, those iron toes mixed with miry clay, the reincarnated Roman Empire, the NATO-EU alliance that the US is a part of, that these elites control, that the image of the BEAST should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the BEAST, and a major component of the image of the BEAST is going to be that charagma, should be killed, point blank period. These elites, Salakia, understand that the times that they're living in. They see that the nation of Israel is waking back up and calling back on their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and they understand the scriptures and know that when the children of Israel do that, whatever heathen nation that's ruling at the time is going to go out of power. And they also know that they're the biblical Edomites, and what the fate of the Edomites are after they're taken out of power. 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery before they're permanently culled from this planet with fire. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these NW0 agendas speed up as we get closer and closer to the end of this current system, the second coming of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, and the ushering in of the kingdom of heaven. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, that deceiver, Esau Edom, more specifically the elites, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And this situation that's been taking place over the past couple of years, like I just said, was used to heavily speed forward a lot of their agendas for the GREATRESET. That's why you're seeing a lot of these other situations take place out here, such as food processing plants mysteriously getting burned down or destroyed to help destroy the food supply chain, to lead to emptier shelves and push forward an engineered famine, disruptions to the global supply chain, talks of diesel and fuel shortages, diesel engine oil shortages. The list goes on and on. These elites have a saying, ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. They're about to bring about all this chaos in society to get you people desperate so they can do what? Bring out that order, that NW0, that fourth industrial revolution, The Greatreset, mainly predicated upon that charagma, and a lot of people are going to die in between here and there to get there. Where are we at? Alright, so onward we go, with crisis after crisis, like dominoes falling until we get to the one event that they think will drive the masses to accept world governments. That devil's coming down in great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And while the WEF is regularly attended by top-level globalists, they are more of a high-level think tank. The Council for Inclusive Capitalism appears to be about implementation rather than theory. The founder of the group is who? Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, member of the infamous Rothschild dynasty, one of these elites pushing forward this NW0 agenda that has long been monetarily involved in influencing governments for generations. Pope Francis, another puppet and insider, and the Vatican, which is that false prophet in Revelation chapter 20, the Roman Catholic Church, publicly aligned with the Council in 2020, and one of the primary narratives of the CIC is that all religions must unite with the leaders of the capital to build a society and economy that is fair for all. Yeah, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This mission statement is rather familiar, as it echoes the goals of the WEF and its concept of the shared economy, a system in which you will own nothing, have no privacy, borrow everything, be completely reliant on the government for your survival, and you will like it. In other words, the purpose of inclusive capitalism is to con the masses into accepting a rebranded version of communism. And again, who created capitalism and communism? The elites of the Edomites. The promise will be that you won't have to worry anymore about your economic future, but the cost will be your freedom. The CIC is led by a core group of global leaders. They are referred to as the Guardians. No, I'm not joking. This is real. The Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 to 4, who sheweth himself as the Most High, trying to sit in the seat of the Most High. Members of the CIC have included MasterCard, Allianz, DuPont, the UN or United Nations, the Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association of America, TIAA, CalPERS, BP, which I'm assuming is British Petroleum, Bank of America, Johnson & Johnson, Visa, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Mark Carney, Treasurer of the State of California, and many more companies around the world. And these are major institutions out here. And who owns these institutions? So-called white people, Edomites, the wicked, whom currently the earth has been given into the hands of. This list is extensive, but what it represents is a kind of corporate-led government with a Congress of corporate representatives mixed with pliable political leaders. One of the top missions of the CIC has been to change our economic models to promote equity and inclusion. Hilariously, proponents of the CIC argue that too much wealth has been accumulated into the hands of too few people, and this proves that existing capitalism does not work. Yet they are the very people that rig the system to centralize the wealth into their hands. Again, yeah, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire, his riches, as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. He wants more and more. They aren't capitalists, they are an aristocracy. Do you really think that these people are going to build a whole new system that doesn't continue to benefit them? If you have ever wondered why the Pope has been pushing woke ideology, climate alarmism, and one world religion rhetoric in conflict with traditional Christian doctrine, this is why. He's following the dictates of the CIC. Another mission of the CIC is to enforce carbon controls and taxation in the form of climate change with the purpose of reaching net zero emissions. As we all know, net zero carbon will be impossible without a complete upheaval of our economy and industry, along with the deaths of billions of people in the process. That's all a part of the plan. Remember, woe to the earth and them that dwell therein, for the devil is come down in great wrath unto you, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And what was one of the commandments on the Georgia Guidestones before they were destroyed? Hey, maintain humanity under 500 million. It is an unattainable scenario, which is why it is perfect for the globalists. Humans are the enemy of Earth, they claim, so we need to let the elites control our every action to ensure we don't destroy the planet and ourselves, and the process will never end because there will always be carbon emissions to deal with. Let me see. That's pretty much it with this article. You get the point. But hey, the Spirit beareth witness that you Edomites truly are the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of, and that you're the ones pushing for a one world order, gathering under you all nations and all people under one banner, like your forefathers tried to do in the past. But hey, you elites are in a trick bag. The Most High has put the Spirit on you to do this, to fulfill prophecy. You will not, well, you'll be able to get to a certain extent into your NW0 to think that you're going to sail off into the sunset. But that's when the Most High is going to give you that 1-2 punch and completely take down your system and take you out of power. Let's get back into these precepts. This is Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1. The king's heart or mind is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of waters, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Contrary to popular belief, there is no free will out here. We're all just puppets to the Most High and his movie. And you kings of the earth, you elites are no different. Your heart or mind is in the hand of Yahweh to fulfill prophecy, and you've just about reached those bounds which you cannot pass before the Most High takes you out of power. This is Job chapter 20. I'm going to start at verse 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. You elites sitting down at the dinner table, so to speak, about to enjoy the fruits of your one world government, your NW0. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And when you go into that word wicked, it means the laborers, those that are afflicted. And who are the main laborers right now? The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Hey, but this every hand of the wicked, or the laborers that's going to come upon you, are the elect. Some who are going to get spiritual powers on this side, but ultimately, when the 144,000 get those new spiritual bodies, and we come and hunt you in all your hiding places, when the fishers become hunters, when he is about to fill his belly, hey, he's got the majority of the planet with that charagma in him, and these people are accepting his NW0. The Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Hey, all your plans are going to fall apart, and the Most High is going to take back the steering wheel and take you out of power. He shall flee from the iron weapon. The bow of steel shall strike him through. And what this is talking about is nuclear missiles, which, shortly after the charagma is mandatorily implemented, they're going to be shot to the ends of the earth and hit everywhere where you Edomites dwell, burning up all your aspirations for your NW0, and the United States of America alone, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great, is going to get hit with 200 million nuclear missiles, which is going to turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yeah, The glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. And that fire not blown is again speaking of those nuclear missiles, because how or because that fire from those nuclear missiles isn't kindled by putting wood together and starting a fire. It's kindled by all those different elements inside the warhead that come together and ignite to bring about that nuclear destruction. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And the heaven that's revealing his iniquity are those satellites in the second heaven, or low orbit space, that's beaming these internet signals from one end of the earth into the other, beaming video epistles like this from one end of the earth even into the other, as well as all the other sincere brothers that are prophesying and putting up video epistles like this, revealing who the wicked are and what your plans are, as well as preaching the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, waking up the elect. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. Hey, all as it says in the book of James, hey, your gold and your silver is polluted and it's cankered and is rusted, and it'll be a witness against you. All this mass wealth that you elites have accumulated greedily unto yourselves, you've done it for the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. Because when we start coming after you, because you're going to be the first fruits of slavery, we're going to take all your amassed wealth away from you. This is the portion of the wicked man from the Most High. And again, who is the wicked? The border of wickedness in Malachi 1 verse 4. The wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job 9 verse 24. You Edomites. And the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. This is Psalms 149. I'm going to start at verse 4. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation, the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, putting you heathen nations into slavery, to build up the kingdom of heaven for the first 1,000 years, and at the head of that, as it says in verse 8, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. And you elites being the first fruits of slavery, you're going to survive this nuclear destruction just for that very fact. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. When we come and gather you elites up for slavery, again, we're going to take your riches away. This is the portion of the wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. And now I'm going to close it out in Genesis chapter 11. I'm going to start at verse 1, because earlier in the video I talked about the Tower of Babel under Nimrod, where those people back then all had one language, which was the Paleo-Hebrew, and they tried to come together and build the Tower of Babel, a one-world government back then. And we'll read what happened to it when they tried to do this. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And what does Babel mean? Confusion. And that's what Babylon goes back to. Confusion by mixing. And like I said, the United States of America in the scriptures is known as Babylon the Great. And these elites use the United States of America to push a lot of their agendas onto the rest of the world. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Everything written aforetime was written for our learning. There is nothing new under the sun. And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So that's what the God of the Bible thinks about all people coming together and being one. He's not with it. He wasn't with it in the past, and he's not with this one world government, this NW0, this GREATRESET, this fourth industrial revolution, this technological Tower of Babel that these Edomites are trying to bring about now. And he's going to bring it to an end, just as he brought down the Tower of Babel. So that's it with this Shabbat lesson. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong, as we can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shabbat Shalom.